Semhal, please.
Thank you. I wanted to ask two questions. One is regarding finance. We've talked a lot about sort of having policy independence and mobilizing resources from within. To that extent, I think examples that we could cite from the Rwandan, for example, the Agaciro Fund and the Great Renaissance Dam. I don't know if it's a fund, but we're raising money for it together. On the other hand, both countries have also very recently debuted on the sovereign debt markets. And to some degree, if you're, I mean, I understand that you would have to be able to not pay the money that you, to pay the money back. But doesn't that cut on I'm sorry, I'm not articulating myself very well, but doesn't that to some degree, lessen your policy independence? And what was the rationale? Why this time? I addressed this question to both President Kagame and Prime Minister Haile Mariam. What was the rationale behind joining the international bond markets? The other question I have, it's something I'd like to pick up from what the gentleman from IGAD said. I think it's something around Meles' thinking on the developmental state that hasn't really been mentioned, which I think he was trying to mention. He, I think, asserts that development is not a process of capital accumulation, but a process of accumulating technological capabilities. To what degree is that conceptualization of development visible within in the way we craft policy in Ethiopia, and to what extent has that played a role in policy making in general, or is that something that's thought about at all? Because we've talked about a lot of other aspects, but I think it was an assertion of his that in order to become a middle-income country, we need to be able to copy technology, and in order to become a high-income country, we need to be able to innovate. And that's something that I didn't hear being discussed. So I was just wondering if that's open to all of your excellencies.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Semhal. I think as far as the foreign debt is concerned, we have been getting and borrowing money from not only the international capital market, but bilateral organizations and countries like China, India. And we have been using this money for our infrastructure development, which is much more needed to see that the infrastructure deficit is accommodated. The thing is, there is no difference whether you get debt from China or from the capital market, wherever. The thing is, you have to understand that your debt sustainability ratio is in such a way that it is low risk. And if you go beyond that low risk, you are susceptible. That's where the policy rent comes. So we have to be very careful in looking into that, whether you are able to pay back the loan in such a way that you will not be susceptible to the pressure that's coming because you have failed to pay this debt. That's the most important issue, and we have checked this correctly. And I think the history shows that many developing countries use foreign savings to pursue their development in helping them for using the money that they borrow for infrastructure deficit completion. And we do also this from World Bank, ADB, and from other concessional loans. But when it comes to commercial loans, I think carefully scrutiny is necessary, as you said, not to compromise your policies around this area. When it comes to technology accumulation, you are right. I think the most important stage that you need to have technology accumulation, at the first stage, you have to have technology implementation and use capacity. rather than technology innovation, as you said. So we have to build how to use already existing technology globally. And through that course, you start to learn and try to modify the technology to suit your own conditions. And as you know, we have already assigned the Metal and Engineering Corporation for this technology transfer and technology adaptation, again, technology usage, and go beyond modifications. And if possible, there are technology innovation as well. So I think it's a ladder that you have to follow in doing so. We are in the right track doing this process and helping the technological capability accumulation.
Thank you. President?
Yes. I'll be very brief. The Prime Minister has almost said everything. I'll only add our debating on bond markets is in fact compatible with our intention of wanting to be independent. And here I want to assert that markets provide more of this independence than if you went for money elsewhere. So it's an issue of the markets and how these markets serve you, and as the Prime Minister said, you go to the markets, the capital markets, knowing your limitations, and therefore you have to operate within those limitations. But as far as that is taken care of, then there is the kind of independence that we are able to attain other than other sources that may be highly politicized.